Hi everyone, today is Tuesday, September 15th. We started with attendance as usual, and I tried to record the whole class session, but it was completely lagging and I haven't had any trouble on my end with lagging, so I had to stop the recording. So I'll continue this overview and hopefully internet gets better and I'll try again another day. All right, so we started in math. And I'm going to go over a few problems with you. And we are focusing on subtracting. In general, I started, and then borrowing, and then some word problems. So, on my Okay, so I just started with problems with simple subtraction. All right, and I had students do a lot. So the majority of our math time was just giving them problems and giving them practice. Something that I found extremely helpful that I'm starting to do is in the chat, I'm only making it so children can only message me. They don't have an option to send a message to anyone else. It's just myself. So everyone was writing their answer. So I was able to see who was struggling and who was getting it. All right, so that's what we did during our math. So for 24, subtract 12, we start in our ones. 4, subtract 2. So I used, items. So if I have 4 sticks, can I subtract 2 from them? Yes, I sure can. And I have 2 left. Then you move to the tens place. If I have 2 sticks, can I take 1 away? Yes, I sure can. And I have 1 left. So 24 subtract 12 is 12. We did about 4 of these problems with no borrowing. Then we moved into borrowing. I'm going to try to make this bigger. I had them try it without any direction, so I definitely want you to try it if you weren't here today. So I give you 42, subtract 18. So please pause and try this problem. Okay. 2. All right, so if I have 2 ones, I have 4 tens because in the beginning of the year, we went over our base 10. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, just like last time. If I have 2 sticks, or if I have 2 blocks, can I take 8 away? No, there's no 8 to take. I can't take 2, or I can't take 8 away from 2 sticks. It's impossible. So I need to knock on the neighbor's door, and I need to borrow 10. Because look, they're stuck, and I'm not cutting this. So I'm going to have to give a full 10 over because we're in the tens place. So I'm going to let my ones place borrow a 10. When I do that, my tens place loses 1. Now there are only 3. I only have 3 tens. Now I have 12, right? This is 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is not 2. It is now 12. My new number is 12. So now if I have 12 sticks, can I take 8 away? Yes, I can. So if I take 8 away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, those are all gone. What do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 left. So 12 subtract 8 is 4. 3 subtract 1, because down here, it's also the tens place, and it's only 1. So 3, take away 1, leaves you with 1, 2. 24. All right, I'm going to do another one, and you can draw pictures to help you. So let's do 23 subtract 23 subtract 7, or 17, I'm sorry. So if I have 3 sticks, can I take 7 away? No, I can't. If I put 3 here, I have 7 on the bottom. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I cannot take 7 away from 3. So I'm going to need to borrow. Over here, there are 2 tens, so 20. Okay. And my neighbor says, sure, go ahead. You can take 1. You can take 10. So now there's only 1. And you move the 10 to the ones place. So now I have 10 plus 3. So I have 13. So if I have 13, now I'm going to take away 7. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are gone. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, subtract 1, I'm going to take it away, would be 0. So our final answer is 6. So a nice rule when you are subtracting is let's make that a 7. 3, 1, 4, 5. Okay. So the rule is you need to look at your top number. If your top number is smaller than the bottom, you need to borrow. If it's bigger, you don't at all. So let's practice that with hundreds. I have 3. There's 5. And I like the sticks, so I like to do both. If I have 3 sticks, can I take 5 sticks away? I can't. I only have 3. So same here. Can I take 5 blocks away from 3? No, I can't. So you are just going to go over here. Don't worry about the hundreds. So you're going to be knocking to miss over here. And I'm just going to draw in 7. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those lines are the 10 rods, okay? So you're knocking, you're asking. He goes, sure. So you're going to take 1 away and put it over here. Your 7 now becomes a 6 because now I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 3 now becomes a 13. and then you subtract, okay? So you do 13 subtract 5, we have 8. Then you move over to your tens place. 6 subtract 4, can you do that? Is 6 greater than 4? It is, so you can subtract. So 6 subtract 4 is 2. You move over to the hundreds. 2 subtract 1. 2 is greater, so you can subtract. 2 subtract 1 is 1. So our answer is 128. So we did a lot of these problems. And we did some in the book. So if you want some more practice problems without making them up, turn to your math book, page 45. Yes. There we go. Oops. Okay. So we already know how to estimate. So once we subtract, we are now estimating. The only difference is we are subtracting now, okay? Estimating is the same, that does not change. The only thing that changes is now you're subtracting instead of adding, all right? The problems I do not want you to do right now because we're going to review them tomorrow because there's something a little tricky about them. Let me make sure. Okay, you can do that one. Don't want to do this yet. Do that one. Do that one. Don't do that one. And you can do that one. Okay, so if you want to practice some of those problems, go ahead. I will review number 3. So 519 subtract 205. I look at the ones place. 9 is greater than 5, so I don't need to borrow. So 9 subtract 5 is 4. I move to the tens place. 1 is greater than 0, so I don't need to borrow. 1 subtract 0 is still 1. Now the hundreds place. 5 is greater than 2, so I don't need to borrow and I can't even borrow. I can't go over anymore. So 5 subtract 2 is 3. So our answer is 314. Now we need to round and then subtract because that estimate means the same as round. So they decided to round to the hundreds place. So you box the 5 because that's the hundreds place, point to the 1. You ask yourself, is 1 greater than 5 or less than 5? 1 is less, so our box number stays the same, 5. Everything to the right turns to a 0. You box the hundreds place because you decided to round in the hundreds place originally. You point to the 0. You ask yourself, is 0 greater than 5 or less than 5? It is less. So again, our number stays the same, 2. Everything to the right turns into a 0. You are subtracting. Some students were adding, but the difference is we're subtracting now. 0 subtract 0, 0. 0 subtract 0, 0. 5 subtract 2 is 3. So our answer is 300. 300 and 314 are so close. They're only 14 numbers apart from each other. So that is a reasonable answer. That means we rounded very well. All right. So these were not assigned. It's just extra practice, but your homework is the next page. 46A and 46B. But I don't want you doing all of them, again, because some problems are different. So your homework tonight is 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Number 13. Not this. Number 3 and number 6. Okay. Now I'm going to go over a word problem we went over today using our cubes. So, for a reminder, My dog's names are Daisy and Leo. They're the big puffy white dogs, and they're actually twins. So I use their names. So Daisy has 635 treats. She uses 472 treats to make Leo a dog cake. How many treats does Daisy have left? Okay, so we want to use cubes. You have that sheet in your folder. We skip C and we go to U. Underline the question. And again, everyone wrote in the chat and gave me the answers before I put it up here. Our question is, how many treats does Daisy have left? We underlined that. You can't tell, but we double underlined treats because we're looking for treats. So again, in this word problem, if it threw in, oh, and then she ate a carrot, one carrot, I'd be like, the question only wants treats, so I'm going to X out that carrot, right? It's not a key number. So that's why we do underline first. Then we jump to C, circle the key numbers. We know we're looking for treats. We have two numbers, 635 treats. That's what we're looking for. Circle that key number. And 472 treats. We're looking for that too. Circle that key number. Then we box the math verbs. We have different math verbs now. We're not in adding. Sometimes we may need to add and subtract, right? But this one, we have two new math verbs. We box uses and left. Those are big, huge hints. Because if you think if you use something, you get rid of it. That's like subtracting, right? You're getting rid of something. You're subtracting it. How many does Daisy have left? So think about if you ate 2 cookies and your mom's like, oh, well, how many do you have left? There were only 2 cookies and you ate 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. You ate them all. So left is also indication of that you're going to have to subtract. And then we evaluate. So that, again, we're thinking in my head, I'm thinking of my little puff ball Daisy with a bunch of treats in her mouth and her hands, if she could hold them, I guess her paws. And she's baking a cake. She's baking a cake with those treats. And then she realizes, oh, I didn't use all the treats. And I'm picturing her have a huge stack. And she wants to know how many does she have left. So instead of counting each one individually, she can subtract what she started with, what she used, to find out what she has left. So that's why we subtracted 635. Subtract 472. We start in the ones place. 5 is greater than 2. So you don't need to borrow. 5 subtract 2 is 3. It's a 3. So it was 3 subtract 7. 3 is smaller than 7, so we needed to jump to the hundreds place and borrow. We borrowed 10, or I guess technically just 1, so picture that. So our 6 turns into a 5, and we place that 1 in front of the 3. So 13 subtract 7 is 6, and then 5 subtract 4 is 1. So now we solved it, and now we have to label it. So 163 treats. Okay. Then we worked on our vocabulary. I can find it. Under my folder. All right. So I had students share what they found yesterday, and I'll go over the synonyms. So yesterday, we finished recognize. So we did that. You should have your picture drawn. Courage, you just have to pause. You should have already done this. And we talked about bravery. Usually in your definition, there may be a synonym to help you. So bravery is a synonym for courage. When you have courage, you are being brave and going through a difficult situation. So someone said, teachers show bravery and courage on the first day of school. Oh, it's scary. And I think kids do too, because it's really scary now with Walk to Learn. So you showed bravery and courage by showing up on the first day of school. And we have disappointment. And again, these definitions are in the front of your pocket. And then we talked about a synonym. In our definition, we have sadness. So sad is a synonym. And then let down, I usually only like one word for a synonym, but disappointment is when you feel when someone let you down, right? Oh, we're going to go to Disneyland next week. Yay, I'm so excited. We're not going to Disneyland anymore. Oh, you're sad. They let you down. You were expecting to go to Disneyland, and then it wasn't as good as you thought because you didn't go, right? Then we have precious, a very valuable to a person. So our synonym right there, valuable. It could be money-wise, like something that's super expensive, or it's just super special to you. Maybe your mom gave it to you. It wasn't that expensive, but it's just special to you. It's precious to you because your mom gave it to you. And then for homework, again, you don't have to do the synonym, but pride, remind, symbols, and tradition. So there's the remaining words. Then we went to Walk to Learn. And when we came back, we read our vocabulary story, which is Dreamcatcher. So this is in their vocabulary book, the Wonders book, the textbook. And it's on page 39. I'll kind of get a gist. We did popcorn read, and so students took turns, and if they could pass if they want, you don't have to read. So we talked about the illustration. We know it's an illustration because someone drew this picture. It's not a photograph. Photograph is real, and we know that this is cartoon-like. And so I made predictions. I go, okay, I'm predicting that he is the main character. I don't know yet. I'm thinking, maybe that's his mom, waiting for him to come inside. The title is The Dreamcatcher, so I'm thinking, it's the main idea is probably about a dream catcher. Right, and then I'll read it to you. Peter walked home from school. Salty tears ran down his cheeks, and his stomach hurt. He didn't know what to do. Grandmother was waiting for him on the front porch. "What's wrong, Bayan?" said Peter's grandmother. Bayan was the Ojibwe name for Peter. He called her Nokomis, which means grandmother. Peter looked up. "I have to give a presentation where I talk about a family tradition. I know we have lots of beliefs and customs. Can you remind me of one?" Nokomis smiled and nodded her head. "Come with me," she said. So what we talked about on this page was, okay, we know our main character is Peter. But then I asked them, his grandmother calls him Bayan. Why? Someone said, maybe they speak a different language. So Bayan is in his home language. And also, Ojibwe kind of sounds like Native American. In my background, I know dream catchers come from Native American traditions. So I'm thinking, maybe that's like the tribe of where he's from. So he has his name given from his family. And then that made me think about, well, wait, he calls her Nokomis, but it's his grandmother. Why is he calling her the first name? That's rude, right? Well, then we discussed too that, grandmother probably means Nokomis in their home language. And then we talked why is he sad? Salty tears ran down his cheeks and his stomach hurt. So think, why is he sad? Well, when we keep reading in paragraph 3, because that's 1, 2, 3, he tells her, says, "I have to give a presentation where I talk about a family tradition." So I'm thinking, all right, he's nervous. He's stressing out. He doesn't know a family tradition that he has, so he's not prepared. He's anxious. And that's what a tradition is a belief that maybe your family does. So for instance, not everyone believes in celebrating Christmas, but that might be your family's beliefs and customs. And in particular, maybe during Christmas, if you do believe in Christmas, if that's your tradition, you may have a specific tradition to your family. Like, for instance, mine is my dad always reads The Night Before Christmas, that book, to us. Even as an adult, I just love it. It brings memories back to me. So even as an adult, he'll read it to me because that's just our tradition. And when I have kids, I'm going to do that with my children. So it's going to be passed down from family to family. And he doesn't remember one of them. He knows he has to know one because, right, he lives in the family, but he's like, please remind me, stressing out. Oh. Peter followed Nokomis. She went to a closet and stretched to reach the top shelf. She pulled out a small box and blew away the dust. She handed it to Peter. Open it, she said. Peter opened the box. He spotted a wooden hoop inside. It was in the shape of a circle. String was woven and twisted around the loop. It looked like a spider web. A black bead sat near the center. Feathers hung from the bottom. Peter wiped away his tears and smiled. So I asked students about sequence. What happened after Peter asked his grandmother to remind him of a tradition? So I want you to think about that. Well, you just name the events in order with transition words. So, you could just say Nokomis Peter's grandmother went into the closet and pulled out a small box. Next, she blew off the dust. That tells us it's old. She has not touched it in a long time. Then she hands the box to Peter. Finally, she tells Peter to open the box. All right? Then we talked about what was inside of it, and this is the description of a dream catcher, of what it looks like. Not the meaning, just what it looks like. And here we have an illustration. And then we thought, why is he wiping away his tears? Why? It says he smiled, so why is he happy? That was a more challenging question. Well, if we think about what happened in the beginning of the story, he was sad. He was crying. Oh, he's anxious. Oh, he's probably thinking the world is over. And his grandma's like, why? What's going on? He says, I need a tradition. I need something to show my classroom for a presentation. And grandmas just, come on, let me help you. Because that's what grandparents love to do. And she helped him. She said, here is a custom. Here is a tradition that we do. Here's a belief. And it's a dream catcher. And so he's relieved. He's smiling. He's wiping away his tears. So he's happy because his problem is solved. The problem is he doesn't have a presentation. He doesn't have a tradition to share for his presentation. That's the problem. The solution is his grandma is sharing with him a dream catcher. So he knows, okay, I'm going to talk about a dream catcher. This is a dream catcher, said Nokomis. Our people have made these for many years. Circles are symbols of unity and strength. Let's hang it over your bed tonight. It will catch your bad dreams in the web, and your good dreams will fall through the center. Maybe it will give you courage to do your presentation. Can I take this one to school? Asked Peter. No, Bayan, said Nokomis. This dream catcher is precious. I got it when I was your age, and it means a lot to me. All right. So the paragraph 1 discusses the tradition and meaning behind a dream catcher. I didn't grow up with a dream catcher, so this is something I learned. I didn't realize that the good dreams fall through the center. That's something I learned. I knew that a dream catcher goes above your bed and catches your bad dreams. And then symbols. This is one of our vocabulary words. So if I say a big yellow M and I draw it like 2 arches, you're going to think McDonald's, right? That's a symbol. The big yellow M symbolizes, it means McDonald's. So this entire dream catcher for their family symbolizes unity and strength. Unity is togetherness. So being together, and strength is so the strength of their family. And that's what it means for them. Courage is one of our vocabulary words. And we learned that was bravery. A synonym is bravery. Or doing doing something that is difficult. And so what's difficult for him is a presentation. So she's saying maybe this dream catcher will give you courage, make you brave to go up confidently and tell your speech. Then he asks, can I take it to school? And she says, no, it is precious. We learned that precious means valuable or special to them. I don't know much about dream catchers, but I'm pretty sure it's not expensive since she made it. Or I'm sorry, since it says right here, it means a lot to me. So she got it at his age, means it's old, and it means a lot to her, so it's special to her. Peter felt disappointment because he wanted to share the dream catcher with his class. We can make you one, said Nokomis. I'd like that, cried Peter. Nokomis and Peter worked together and made a dream catcher. That night, as he gazed and looked at the dream catcher over his bed, he made a plan. The next morning, he told Nokomis his plan. I'm going to show my class how to make a dream catcher, he said. So our vocabulary word is disappointment. And we know that means when you are sad because what you expected didn't happen, didn't go as planned. So he was excited when she pulled out that dream catcher. He expected, she's going to let me take that to class. She says, no, you're not. This is precious to me. And so he was disappointed. He was sad. He expected to take it to class, and then that expectation was taken away. So what did he decide to do? Growth mindset, solve a problem. He's like, I'll teach them how to make one. That's a great idea, said Nokomis. Let's celebrate after your presentation. I will bake corn cookies and we will have a traditional Ojibwe party. Peter shared his dream catcher with his classmates and showed them how to make their own. Peter didn't feel nervous or scared at all. He felt pride in his culture. He felt pride in himself too. So celebrate, we talked about this yesterday. So celebrate is where you can, we talked about a synonym as like maybe throwing a party. So when you celebrate a birthday, you might have a gathering of people, even if it's just a couple, to honor that person, right? So when you celebrate the 4th of July, you're honoring that the United States is now, became a free country. So they are celebrating Peter being confident enough, having bravery and courage to give his presentation. And they're going to celebrate it traditionally. So in their family, during parties, they bake corn cookies. So that is their tradition. All right, and pride you are doing tonight. So I'd love you to come up with your own sentences. This one was extra long because I want to give more detail. So your homework is the math, finishing the vocabulary, and I want you to start thinking about a tradition your family does because we will eventually write about it and write a couple paragraphs. You need to read and make sure you are doing science. Alrighty, thank you.